Welcome, Jack Fleming Artistry. This is a little bit of a long video. There is a little bit of bad sound in the beginning of this, but got a lot of stuff in this. We're painting on windows, we're painting on substrates and stuff for creating signs for a local business here. Vito's, that I previously made a video with me doing their window signs and all for, has opened up a lounge inside of their restaurant. So this covers taking off some of the windows that we did before, still leaving some up, but then adding new window signage and also creating a sign that goes inside of the store. I do have my electro palettes out here. I got this one from Crockett's Garage. I believe you can find them on either eBay or Etsy. I can't remember which one. Still selling these a little bit cheaper than the one that most people have, the old school blue one. I did print off files that were sent to me for the logos and then just pounced them so that we can go ahead and use those on the windows. I am scraping off Vito's Italian Kitchen here. I'm going to go ahead and put the lounge logo on this. Can't really film a whole lot right now because there's a lot of foot traffic where I'm at and no place to put a camera. It's just water. Quick tip, razor blades are cheap, and whenever it starts getting harder to scrape the windows off, switch blades. Okay. Next up, I'm going to clean the surface with some glass cleaner, blue shop towel. Wasn't worried about getting it perfectly clean with that because now I'm going to clean it with Bonamine. Again, blue towel. I'm going to use water to wet that, the glass. Wet my towel, put the Bonamine on this, wipe it on, we'll let it dry and then wipe it off. Alright, before I put this paper up here, I marked center. It's actually this side of this tape. And then I marked where the top of my letters are going to be, so when I put my paper up, I can line it up according to that. Use the level, use the ruler, got this all straight and ready. The other thing is I want those letters at the tops to be lined up with the ones on Vito's, so same height. Alright, I guess I better show you guys what I'm doing. I am pouncing this window. Now I get people are like, why would you pounce the window when you could put the paper on the back side? Well, the back side of these windows is tinted with limousine tint. You're not going to see your paper pattern through it. It's just not going to happen. Would be cool. Would love to be able to paint on the back of the windows. A lot of storefronts nowadays have tinted windows and you don't paint on the tint. At least not here in Texas. Alright, we will do the reveal here. I don't know if you guys can see it. There's my pounce pattern. I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of this off using 2 hands. To make things faster, I'm going to use Scotch tape on the bottom and top of my letters. You don't always do that. Actually don't prefer to, but it makes it a lot faster. Got my paintbrush cleaned out, got my paint ready to go, solvents, all that. Everything's good to go on the window. I started around 12, it's around 1:30 right now, so it's an hour and a half to scrape, clean, prep the surface, and get ready to paint. Okay, so my last color was that, which was white mixed with imitation gold. Now I've taken imitation gold and I mixed a little bit of that back in. Reason for that is 2 parts, 1 for opacity and 2 so it's really unified with the other color. Alright, let's see if I can talk and work here for a few minutes. The lunch rush has died down. I'm at Vito's restaurant here, and next door to them is Firehouse Cafe. I used to do window splash work for them, mostly for the holidays. Behind me is Randy's, also owned by Vito's here. Next door is Mi Familia, a place called Boba Bliss over here. And with all of those, lunch gets busy. That's why I couldn't really film a whole lot earlier. It's close to 2 o'clock now. It's usually about when it dies down. Go ahead and paint this. bit about brushes and all because people seem to geek out on that some. Using the Tilly quill, actually using the size 10. Probably could have got away with a 12. I haven't opened my 12 yet. And because these brushes come with size in them, you need to wash that out in soapy water. And that's not an option at the moment. So we're using the 10. I've been using this one for a while. It really is becoming pretty trusty. I like these brushes. I've said it in other videos. I'm sure I'll say it in more videos. Using one-shot paint. The wind is getting on my nerves. When you're doing work like this, the wind will push you around. And it's more of a bother than anything else that it's doing. But when I was putting my paper pattern up, it was a problem. Wind sucks. I guess it does. Wind blows. Not in a bad sense. See me sneaking off in between brush strokes here. I am piloting my brush with a little bit of high temp reducer. Again, with it being windy, the high temp reducer is helping out. Thins the paint, but it's a little slower drying than some other stuff. Got a car pulled up. Probably going to put you guys on hyperlapse for the rest of this. I know a lot of people tell me how much they like real-time footage, so I try to make sure there's at least some in so you get a sense of how slow things are. At the same time, I don't want to bore you guys to death. I am kind of second coating as I go. I'd like to be able to get more done today, but I need to work on the doors that people are going in and out of, and then I've got to make a pattern for the larger door here. So head back to the house. I've actually got a sign to work on for here, and we'll work on that now. Real quick before I leave, I just realized it was an hour and a half prep time on this and an hour of paint, so not too bad. Okay, so I left Vito's, came home, cooled down for a little bit. Now I've opened the garage. It's like 100 degrees today. I'm cutting down a piece of MDF. I thought I had enough MDO here, but I'm kind of out. This is going to be our sign that's going inside. I'm going to get this cut to size and then prime it, paint it, and then we can paint on it. Alright, my ugliest end is this end, so that's the side we're going to cut off. 42 inches. Show you guys something. Oh, you might already know this, you might not, I don't know. Just so I can show you, I'm making another mark. I've got the other end lined up with the board, but whenever I go to make a pencil mark with a ruler, I make a V. I'm coming from here out, okay, from my 42 out. This way I know that that's the end that I'm measuring against. If you make just a straight line like this, this might be off a little bit here versus here. Y'all might already know that. I don't know what you guys know, but I figured I'd share something I learned a long time ago. Using my T-square now, going to my mark, getting that ready to cut. I'm ready to cut this part off. I know there's really no need to really put a line on here since I am using this. I have set this to 6 inches, which is what I'm cutting off. If you'll notice though, where are we at? There we are. I'm not exactly on 6 inches. I'm sure you guys know this stuff, but it's because I'm compensating for the blade width. Let's see. There we go. If you line up. So the edge of my blade will cut against that pencil mark. quickly rolling out some oil-based Kills primer here. Alright, so right now I'm sanding on this, trying to get texture out of it. I had put this paint on it, black, and when it dried, the texture from the roller didn't come out at all. If anything, it almost looks like it's got more texture than whenever I rolled it. I am, like I said, sanding it. I'm starting off with 100. I'm going to work my way down to something finer, and then I'm going to come back with a paint that I'm pretty sure will level out better. I've sanded first with 100 grit, then 320 grit, then I came back with 600 grit. Now I'm going to put paint on it. I do have a little bit of Rust-Oleum left. I use this a lot whenever I coat surfaces like this. There's not a lot. It's kind of skinned down the bottom. Let's peel that skin off real fast. It's kind of a thin skin, which is good. If it was thicker, I think I'd pull it completely out. But I'm just kind of peeling it around the edges. I know it's hard to see because it's black. I'm going to peel it over to one side, and I'm just going to let it sit there. I know I've had somebody in the past, and you guys, if you watch the channel all the time, have heard me mention it, say that I shouldn't stir paint with a screwdriver. And I've asked why, and I still haven't gotten a response. So if anybody wants to tell me why I shouldn't do this, I'm all ears. But for now, I can't see a good reason why not to. That's just me, my ignorance, I guess. Until I hear a good reason, it don't make sense why not to. Show y'all real quick another product that I'm going to use. This is Flood Penetrol. Flood's the brand. This slows down dry time. That allows the paint to kind of like melt out, even out, glass out, whatever you want to call it. It recommends on the back here 3 parts paint to 1 part Penetrol. I don't think I'm going to use quite that much because I'm afraid that that'll make my coverage not as good as I want. So I'm probably going to do like 4 to 1. But I'm really hoping that this will glass out this time, and I'd love it to cover in 1 coat. We'll see. And there, I'm going to go ahead and clean my surface so I'm not just wasting time. This way, if there's any dust particles and stuff, maybe they won't affect my surface too bad. I want it to be as smooth as I can. I don't have a sprayer here at the house. My air compressor that I've got has some issues, so working with what we got. Okay, I've got my handy dandy popsicle stick now to stir with. I waited until that Penetrol was where I felt comfortable that the amount that I wanted was inside of here, aiming for about 4 parts paint to 1 part Penetrol. It's not an exact science. Go ahead and stir this. I'm just going to pour it out and roll it directly on the surface, and then I'll show you guys another trick. Might as well show you guys and talk while I do this. Again, making sure that's good and stirred up. Just going to set it on top of my lid there for the moment. We're going to pour some of this out. Don't know how much it needs, but I don't want it to be too much because then I'm trying to get excess off of the surface. Foam roller, one of my favorite tools. I worked in the center and I'm working my way out. Part of my reasoning for that is I don't like having too much on this outside edge because it usually builds up. I want a smooth surface. I'm going to go kind of fast and moving this around. And I do need some more, so I'm just going to pour some more. This time I'll pour kind of close to those edges. As you can tell by the top of my work table here, I don't really care if I get paint on it. I'm aiming for smooth though. And opacity. So I'm watching my paint, looking for thin spots. I'm looking for roller marks. Something I like to do when I'm rolling. I'm actually going to pour a little bit more, but I'll go and I'll just barely put any pressure sometimes and use that to take some roller texture out. Do that again in a minute because we need a little bit more paint down on this end. I'm going to turn a fan on in here for circulation. I'm not going to make it super strong, It's not really to make it dry, that's so that the air is circulating so it dries more evenly. Again, I'm really hoping that Penetrol will do its thing and that this will kind of glass out some. So, this is my last roller pad that I have on hand, and I don't want to run to the store and get another one. So I'm going to take this one, I'm going to wrap it up just in the bag you buy them in, and then I'm actually going to go put it in the fridge. That way it stays cool. Try to get as much air out of this as I can without making marks in the roller. That way if I've got a second coat, I don't have to open up another one, and I don't have to try and clean a foam roller that's got oil-based paint in it. So we're gonna let this dry and come back to it. You know, I think if I ever need to take classes on anything, I need to take some classes on how to use the computer. I have tried to figure out how to get this paper pattern the way that I wanted for this sign on the computer. I spent probably an hour and a half trying to do something that took me 5 minutes with scissors and a ruler. To just take the existing paper pattern that I had. Let me show you. All I wanted to do was take the existing design that was there and move this from being above this to being next to it, and I'll write the above it. Probably take somebody who knows what they're doing with the computer maybe 30 seconds, but I don't know what I'm doing with the computer. Tell you guys too, this didn't come out as smooth as I wanted it to, but it is much better than what it was. It's good enough to roll with. I'm going to take this now, turn it into my pounce pattern, and get that on this. Okay, so I drew a little mark here and a couple of marks here. I don't remember if I videoed that, but that's just so that I can fold this in half and find center. I'm just going to scoot that over. What I want to do is line that mark over there up with that mark. And I also drew a straight line in pencil so I could see it through the paper. Now that I've got that, there's center. And that'll help me line it up on our sign. So let's go do that. Kind of a funky camera angle, but I'm using these lines here to figure out how close I want it to the top. I want a little bit more space at the bottom than the top. Use my ruler here. Make sure we're good. Let's see, that's 1 3/4 inches. It's a little crooked. Let's shoot for that 1 3/4 inches. Just going to use some regular masking tape here today. We're going to put it on our shirt. Get some of the sticky off. That way we're not messing up our black paint. Okay. It's pretty humid today because it's supposed to rain, so that actually helps too. So let's go back to this. Double check. 1 3/4 inches. Needs to come up a little bit on this side. There we go. 1 3/4 inches. Now we got to figure out center. So if I measure this whole thing, 36 plus 6 is 42. So we want 21 for our center. Let's go down here. Woo, we were close, close, close. Double check and make sure that that is lined up. Here's where I'm hoping I don't mess up that paint. Still a little on the fresh side. It's dried for a day, actually, but might be fresh enough with all this moisture we've had. Double check our 1 3/4 again. Still on it. Still on it. All I have in here is just contractor's chalk inside of an old sock. I'm not fancy enough to go buy a fancy pounce bag. Maybe one day I will, if this works. Alright, peel and reveal. I'm going to hold my hand just in case I got to redo anything. Well, looking good. Good enough for me. Okay, we're going to make a magnetic ledge to set things on to paint up here. I've got these really strong magnets and a piece of wood, and I'm going to go cut that and sink these in it. Hopefully that'll help us out here. This ledge is going to help out so much when it comes to painting on the easel. Keep me from having to bend over and having to move magnets all the time. Screw things to it in order to get stuff to stay. I'm just going through real quick, finding center on these. Going corner to corner. It don't have to be exact, but I'm going to drill a hole in the center of each one of these squares that this little bolt on these magnets will stick up through. So, do this on all these, and then I'll come through and drill that. Not going for exact science here. Just gonna drill some pilot holes here. Ain't gonna take much. It's already pretty thin. Ain't even using the hammer. Show y'all I knocked out those little lines that were left with the chisel. Got my pilot hole drilled. Go ahead and drill my regular holes. Come in and drill these. Come on. Wanted it tight. It's tight. Oh, so I'm putting my regular washer on, lock washer on, and my bolt on. Surprise, surprise, it's a 10 millimeter. I'm actually going to cinch that pretty hard so it sucks into the wood a little bit. I really want it moving around. You want to do all of these. Time to see if this works in reality like it did in my mind. It's a little heavier than I thought it would be, but that's just those magnets. Oh boy, I think this is going to work good. Feels like it'll hold some weight too. Definitely hold the weight of the sign. That's awesome. So now if we need to adjust, just pull it off like that and move it to where we need to. This is great. You gotta be careful on your fingers. Those magnets are strong. I get some people that say that they like the longer videos, the ones with more real-time stuff going on in them. So I guess this video is for them. A lot of real-time stuff here. If you're still watching this far in, I totally thank you. I imagine either you really like the work, you're a big fan, or I don't know, maybe you fell asleep. All joking aside, though, I know some people really do like to sit here and see how things are done, how other people work. I gain a lot of knowledge from the opportunities that I have to watch somebody else work, and I can go back and watch it again and again and always learn a little bit of something, either paying attention to how people are holding a brush, how fast they move, how they're twisting things like I'm doing right here. There's just so much you can watch from observation and learn from. Let's go ahead and speed things up a little bit here, though, too. This may be a good time to mention if you guys are fans of the channel, or if this is your first time watching it, you know, click like, follow, please, subscribe. Go to our website, jackflemingartistry.com. We have t-shirts, art prints, other things like that. You can also find links there to contact me if you have some jobs that you're interested in. I'll put a link down here underneath what it is we're doing at the moment. You can also follow us on Instagram at Jack Fleming Artistry. Alright, so I'm able to get over here this morning before they open, so I'm going to work on the main doors, try and get those totally finished before they show up. I am moving the hours from that side to this side, and scraping all of that and putting the lounge and the hours for it on that side. Try and get that done first, and then I got another door to do something similar to. Here's a nugget of wisdom for y'all. I have my level, which I used last time, making the same measurements as there. I'm doing it the same way that I did then. So the width of my level is going to be this line. If I come down the width of that and roll this once, that's where the bottom and I'm looking in here for level. So the bottom of that line of type is going to be here. Line of letters. They're going to be the height of this. Get my hand in the middle so I can hold it right. Okay. If I come and look again, figure out where it was. About the width of this, a little higher, where the tops of my lowercase, or the lower part of my lowercase were, the top parts are there. So, it's quite possible that I used tape in between them last time. But I'm not this time. I've got levels width in between them. Just make sure it's level. Just keep marking our way down. Here's another little what I do. I want rounded corners here, so I'm just going to use the cap for my glass cleaner. That way they're uniform. I didn't bother drawing this out because you guys probably can't see it in the camera. I can see it fine, but after I draw it out, just take my rag and dust the little pencil flecks off, and we're good to go. If there's a thing is once a pinstriper, always a pinstriper, but when it comes to doing these lines on this is how I do them. With the Von Dago pinstriping brush. use a bunch of different pinstriping brushes, but this one's kind of my go-to for fatter, long lines. So #1 Bondago. Sometimes I use a 2, but I seem to be able to pull curves like I'm having these corners a little bit better with a 1. Going right underneath the tape. Having some paletting issues there. Go back and re-palette and clean it up. Hopefully y'all can see past my big old hat. Big old hat keeps my bald old head from getting sunburned. Look back here. That's on that pit mark. Pretty tight curve for this brush. Totally do. Going a long line down. Close. We're staying off of that. Just using it as a guide. I put my paper pattern up here. I marked where the top of that is so I can feel it through the paper or see it. I think I use transparent paper on that. Doing this for center. All so that I line my paper pattern up correctly. So now it's time to do that. Just so you know why you're not seeing a whole bunch of footage of me painting on this part, lunch hour has begun and foot traffic's kind of steep. Check this out. Oh, I'm having to work between stuff like this to get in and out of my van, so it's all kind of cramped and I don't want the camera in the way. Weird noises in the background. I think it's construction stuff going on, but just to show you, I scraped off what was on this window, transferred it up here. I've got tapes for the tops and bottoms of the letters, and then I've got my pounce pattern for the next part. I'm going to go ahead and paint the white part first before I pounce that, let that kind of tack up and dry. Meanwhile, here we are, this big window over here, I'm saving for last today, and I'll probably start working on it while that white's drying. I can put the camera in the shade, let you guys kind of watch what's going on. Probably do it in hyperlapse just so that it can work. With that window now in direct sunlight, it is just beating me up and wearing me out. So I'm switching paces, coming over to this one. I started cleaning on it. Let me show you something. I don't know if you can see, but there is overspray all over it. So I'm going to clean that off. I'm going to take water, spray water on it, and then scrape it with a 4-inch blade. Keeping it wet the whole time will keep it from scratching it, and then after that I'll clean it like I normally do. My lines are all there, ready for me to paint. Now I catch flags sometimes for not using a maul stick all the time, but I am using one here. You can see the reflection of it in the window there. For me, some surfaces it seems easier to use it, and some it doesn't. Most of the time I'm using it if I'm trying to keep my hands out of wet paint. Here, it's just kind of because it works a little bit better for me on this surface. I know some people use them all the time, and I'm just not there yet. It's just not what's comfortable and helpful for me. There are places where I find it to be a little bit of a hindrance, but hey, I'm still young in signs, so. I'll show you. I do this here. twisting my brush as I go up into that corner. I can end at a point. On this downstroke here, I'm going to start up in the corner of that point. Kind of twisting my brush the opposite way as I come down. It's got a little bit of a curve, so I'm going to twist my brush and go back into it. That'll work. Top part of that O. Start back down here. Where my brush is already flared out like it's going to. I am spinning the brush like a rudder, turning it in the direction I want to go. Back into the other curve. I've got a little run right there where I started. We'll lay that off real fast. Reduce again. This time I think I'm going to start with that top curve. I'm twisting my brush. If I was using my maul stick, I probably could have come all the way down the other side. Treating my arm like a maul stick. Trying to keep my knuckles in a spot that's not going to get paint. I'm hoping I don't have to do a second coat, but if I do, I'll do it during the little window of time that I have where it's not really going to mess anything up. Almost. I'm going to have to come back and touch where the two meet. First, pull that, lay this side off. Get those brush strokes up there. See if we can get these brush strokes out right.
What you're doing is a lost art.
You found it.
When I grew up, my neighbor was a sign painter.
Oh yeah?
And it was always just amazing to watch him work.
There's kind of been a little bit of a renaissance here the past few years.
Yeah.
Mostly guys in their 40s like me.
And you do it just like he did it.
Yeah. Glad we cut that little bit of dialogue with the passerby there. I always like the conversations that I have with people while I'm painting. Beating the devil out of it like Bob Ross. Oh, I'm spinning the heck out of it. After I spin it and get it in some oil, I'm going to work that in. Try to make sure it gets down in the ferrule. Flatten my chisel out where I want it. It's actually, I try if I can to flatten them out where the letters are on top. Hopefully to train them that way over time. I know where to put my fingers. Sometimes it don't work. Well, the sun is setting and I just finished the windows here. I still need to do a little bit of work on the wooden sign, so I'm going to clean up, finish that other part in the morning, and then come back here and deliver that and clean these and be done. You can see right now, sun's already set. I know it doesn't really look like it in this, but it's below the horizon, so it'll get dark soon. Okay, so here's the last piece that we're doing for this job. We still have the kind of cream color to do around the 8. And we've got to do the. And I really don't like where I figured out the to be on this. It's in the center, but I think it's going to look off balance with that cream being there. I think it needs to go farther to the left to create good visual balance. So we're going to figure that out. All right, let's start by extending this line. And you know what? It's parallel to the top, so that helps us keep it the same. Extend it across here. Then for this, I'm just looking at my gap to make sure it's even all the way across. And look at this. I notice that the bottom of my ruler just about touches those letter tops, so I'm just going to line it up with the letter tops. Boom. Now, I don't want it all the way over. I think it's better if it comes in some, maybe halfway above here. Inside of the middle of that negative space, maybe it starts there. Let's see. If I don't like it, I can move it. Make it a little wider there. Make them kind of wide. Now I'm looking at that negative space and I'm looking at this negative space here and trying to make them kind of balanced. Can't leave a giant gap there, but I can bring this in just a little bit more. And I kind of like that. I like how this hits through the center of that and this gets close to hitting through the center of that. That's not too bad. We'll get this finished up here and then we will take it and go hang it over at the lounge and let you guys see what the inside looks like. So while we're here this day, they're actually still setting up the pool tables and all, getting them leveled out. I never realized how heavy the slate for the top of those were. I was watching the guys bring them in. It's kind of cool. But this is the inside of the lounge. Pretty nice looking. They should have it open in a couple of days from when I'm filming this. Well, thank you guys for watching all of this video. Here's the final shots of the signs here. If you guys paint, you know, go get your brushes wet. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think. I know this was a longer video, a lot of real-time stuff. You guys have a good day. Bye.